Thank you.
Okay, so this is Draft Professor. We are doing summer scouting. I am joined today by Brian Maafi. And Brian, you'd like to discuss some defensive tackles.
Yeah. So again, as I said in the previous videos, this is finding a balance between, the film and projection and stuff like that. So of course it's still early. Guys will move up, guys will move down, all that good stuff. So I think this defensive tackle class could be strong at the top. I'm kind of not sure about the depth of it, but at least at the top there could be some pretty good players. You can see number of guys going in the first round. So right now my number one defensive tackle is Peter Woods. He probably will end up being, from line to line, my number one tackle, defensive tackle for the class. So he's my number one guy right now. He'll probably end up being my number one guy by the time we go to the draft day or whatever. But again, a guy who's 6'2", 315, but like the way he moves and his explosiveness is crazy. It's just, he moves like a guy that's like 290, but he's super explosive, really good run defender. Has flashes as pass rusher, so that needs to, we need to see some development from there. But just really athletic, high upside, just one of those guys that I think, like I said, just needs to take a few steps here and there, and I think he's a top 10 pick potentially. After him, I got Caleb Banks from Florida. Different size profile, obviously. Caleb Banks, I actually have official measurements on, just under 6'6", 325. So like I said, obviously different measurables, but a similar situation in the sense of, he just needs to develop, show some more development. This year, he shows a lot of flashes this past season, towards the end of the year. He started off at Louisville, but transferred to Florida, of course. Had 4 sacks this past year. Moves really well for a guy that big. Has showed flashes as a pass rusher with some moves. He's shown, I'm trying to remember, I think he's shown a swim. Obviously, he's shown a bull rush. I'm trying to think what else he's shown. But yeah, he's shown some upside as a pass rusher. I'd even say right now he's a better pass rusher than Peter Woods. But again, like I said, he just needs to get there with his development. My next tackle, I think, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about him, but I really like the film last year. Rayshawn Benny from Michigan, 6'4", just under 300 pounds, 26, but really athletic. He's good, really good pass rusher. It's still developing, of course, but a pretty good pass rusher for his experience, I should say. So despite him not having great numbers, but surprisingly, he's a really good run defender for his size, even though he's under 300 pounds. I wouldn't say he could play nose tackle, but I definitely would say he can't play nose tackle. But at least from what Michigan asked him to do, he's kind of a 3-tech, but like even for a 3-tech, he's a really good run defender, actually. Really good anchor, again, the run game stuff, and he can penetrate. Again, just a guy that needs to show some development from the pass rush as far as some different moves and stuff like that. But I'm projecting him up there as I think he could sneak into the first round if he gets there. My next guy, I swear we've been talking about him for like 3 years. Dante Corleone from Cincinnati. I think he would have came out last year if he had the blood clots. So again, this is where there was a chance he was going to have to potentially retire, but thankfully everything cleared up. He's good to go. Again, I think he's going to be more of a, how do I put it? More of a nose tackle, but I think he can be, a similar player to like a Kenny Clark. People never remember Kenny. Well, people that watch Kenny Clark for Green Bay, he can play nose tackle. He can play 3-tech. He can do all that. He can play basically up and down the interior of the defensive line. Again, I think the potential he's going to be an okay pass rusher, but I think he offers at least enough as a bull rusher and some moves and stuff like that to where teams still have to take him into account as a pass rusher, and he can play, third downs and third and longs and stuff like that. You don't have to take him off the field. But again with him, the health is the thing. You want to make sure he's healthy. Make sure all his medicals check out, the combine, all that type of stuff. If all that stuff checks out and getting back to his play from 2023, I believe, I guess I would say. Another guy that can move up, I think it's get into the first round again. So we could potentially have 4 to 5 guys go in the first round. After him, again, another guy, it's a projection, Gerald Jackson from Florida State. Actually have confirmed measurables on him, 6'5", 330, with actually 35-inch arms. So he's got really long arms. And his body shape he's pretty big in the midsection. So he's kind of got that barrel shaped body. But so he doesn't look like when you look at him, but he moves pretty well actually, even though he's so big and he's got that barrel shape. You think, oh, he's just some big nose tackle, but he's really not. Not that he can't defend the run, but he's actually a better pass rusher. He's got more pass rush moves than as being a pure nose tackle. Like, he can play some nose tackle, but I think he's better off playing like 1 tech, 2 tech, whatever, 3 tech, whatever. But yeah, so like I said, so despite being 6'5", 330, he's probably more of a penetrating 3 tech type of guy, but he can defend the run still. But again, like I said, projection, he still needs to get a little bit better against the run and develop some more moves. After him, I have DeMonte Capehart from Clemson. Another guy actually got confirmed numbers on 6'4", just over 6'4", 320, with just under 34-inch arms, so 33 7/8, so almost basically 34-inch arms. Again, a guy who's actually going to be a 6-year senior, but just because of the depth that was ahead of him at Clemson, he hasn't played a super lot. And then I don't think his upside is as high as the previous guys, but I think his floor is higher. So I think he's, at the very least, you can get a solid nose tackle out of him. Who will kick in some pressures here and there, can play on some third downs a little bit. I wouldn't play him on like 3rd and long, but like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. When there's still a potential for them to run the ball or whatever. But yeah, he'll be a bull rusher, but not really much production in the pass game. Another projection I have, another guy I'm projecting, I should say, Zane Durant from Penn State, 3 tech type guy, 6'1", sub 300 pounds. Would help to get him over 300 pounds, but still, again, he's your classic short 3 tech. You can penetrate, get into the backfield, create some havoc. Hasn't reached his potential yet. So again, like I said, the projection hasn't put up the pass rush numbers you would like to see, but I think he's getting there. But again, another guy that can move up, could end up leaving Capehart, could end up leaving Jackson, if he hits. Another guy, kind of a similar thing, is Aaron Graves from Iowa. A little bigger, 6'4", but still under 300 pounds, 293. Kind of your typical Iowa defensive lineman. A little undersized, but he's pretty technically sound. He still needs to improve. He's still a little inconsistent, but like solid against the run, solid pass rusher, can do a little bit of everything, not elite anything. Pretty good athlete. The upside though is there he could really take off as a pass rusher. So if he does, he could, again, another guy that could really move up. Another guy I like is where'd he go? Sorry, Dominic Orange from Iowa State. He's got a great name. He's got that last name Orange. You could say he's a big dude, 6'4", 325. He didn't become a full-time starter until this past season. Had a few starts in 2023. Yeah, again, like I said, just a big a big nose tackle, run stuffer. Yeah, he's not going to give you much in the pass game, although you would love to see him develop some there, at least to where at least he can offer a little bit of something where he's not playing just 2 downs. I think the potential is there where he could develop some there. He's a good athlete. But he's, again, like I said, he just needs to develop there. Could definitely move up on the boards if he does. Next guy I like a lot, Dominic. I like this upside. I should say Dominic Ratcliffe from Indiana. Another kind of 3-tech guy. There's seems like there's a lot of 3-tech type guys in this class. Again, transferred a couple times, but he actually just started out at Louisiana Lafayette. Then he was at Texas State. Now he's in Indiana. Just good defender, solid around. He for his size, he's a pretty good run defender, being sub 300, but still needs to obviously with something to add some bulk, some weight there, and then obviously show some improvement as a pass rusher. He put up pretty good pass rushing. He was, how do I say it? The step up in competition has been a little bit difficult for him as far as pass rush production. Is having to learn more moves and having to stuff like that because before he kind of got by on his athleticism. So he needs to show some growth there. Another player I like, I'm projecting him to move inside is LT Overton from Alabama. He plays edge. Yeah. He plays edge for them, but he's like 283, and he's not like a slim, muscular 283. He's kind of a thick guy, which is why I think he's not like, again, he's not a freaky athlete. He's strong. He's a power rusher for sure for Alabama. That's how he gets most of his pass rush production, through the power rush, speed to power, stuff like that. But he's not overly bendy. Like I said, he's got kind of a defensive tackle build, if that makes sense, I guess. So that's why I project him to move inside. I think he'll, have him put on like 10 pounds and he'll be good. Started out Texas A&M, so of course, obviously, he was a 5-star guy. Basically, did nothing at Texas A&M because that's what happens. 5-star guys go there to die, so to speak. And he then transferred to Alabama this past year, and then he actually had a pretty good year. Not again, he was able to get a lot of pressure, but he didn't get a lot of sacks because again, I don't think the athleticism is there for him to get a lot of sacks as on the edge. But again, he could be a guy that could play in that. What's the role I'm trying to think of?
Would you call it a compression edge?
No, actually, I was trying to think of specific players. So, like, if people remember Richard Seymour from New England, different body type, kind of, but I think he could play a similar role in that he can play inside, he can play outside. I think he's going to play mostly inside, but he can kick outside, especially on like run downs and stuff like that. But like I said, I predict him inside, have him add a little bit of weight. Another nose tackle type I like from this class, Lee Hunter, Texas Tech. Transferred over from UCF, just a big dude, 6'4", 320. Again, like I said, he's going to be your nose tackle. He's really big, wide guy. He looks like he might be bigger than the 320. Looks like he might be 340, something like that. I've heard he's bigger, but we'll see. But he has shown a couple flashes here and there, a little bit of his pass rusher. So I don't think he's just a pure nose tackle, but I don't think he's going to give you a lot of production there. But he's a guy who can give you maybe 2-3 sacks a season if he shows a little bit more development as a pass rusher. But again, like I said, no big nose tackle. Another kind of 3-tech guy I like, Jonathan Jefferson from SMU. He was a kind of big recruit at Georgia, but he transferred over to, like I said, SMU because he had some struggles there at Georgia getting on the field. Sorry. And again, this is a little bit with him. For me, is a little bit of projection because I think he has the talent to move up on the boards. He hasn't shown a lot, but he has shown some flashes here and there. And again, he's a former 4-star talented player. So, again, like I said, this is more projection for me, but I think he's going to move up. I think he's going to finally start putting some passers production together and move up on the boards. Next guy I like, he hasn't. Similar to, similar to DeMonte Capehart, he didn't play super lot, but Tywone Malone from Ohio State, again, had a bunch of guys in front of him, so he didn't play super lot. He started out at Ole Miss, but it's been a struggle for him to get on the field. But he's shown flashes of production here and there. He's going to be a starter this year for his first time, so I think, again, kind of a solid all-around guy, not like special or anything, but just kind of solid. solid run defender, okay pass rusher, kind of like a rotational guy. He can be a solid rotational guy, I think, in the league. Next guy is well known because he moves every year. Bear Alexander from Oregon. Guy has not stayed one place more than a year since he was like a sophomore in high school. I think he played at like 5 high schools or something like that. And then, of course, he started out at Georgia, then played at USC. I think I heard from, or not heard, well, yeah, I think it was Corey Kinnan put it out there on a podcast the other day on Daft on Drafts, where he said that I guess he got into an argument, some sort of fight with, not a physical fight, but some sort of fight with the USC coaches. That's why he ended up like basically redshirting this past year and then transferring. So that the talent is there. The physical talent is there for him to be a first round pick. And he's showing flashes on the film on the field. But just the thing with him constantly transferring, like players are going to transfer. That's fine. I think we all kind of get that. It's going to happen. Players are dealing with NIL. And of course, I don't fault the players for trying to make some money to help their families. But the fact they transfer so much in high school and then even now in college, every year he hasn't stayed in one place more than like a year, basically. It still puts a big question mark on his character for me and moves him down because there's rumors that he's just, as they say, a quote unquote bag chaser. So he's just trying to make money, basically, like in the sense of that he may not put in the work in the NFL to become, the player he can be. He's going to get drafted first. He'll get drafted and he'll just take his money and just kind of just go through the motions type of thing. Now it's possible, of course, he could end up putting in the work and didn't get there, and we'll see. But again, I just have questions about whether he's going to put in the work. Another guy I like, actually, he is kind of a projection, I guess. Corey Walker from Wisconsin, 6'5", just under 300 pounds. He transferred over to Western Michigan, but he actually played. I believe Wisconsin listed him as an edge, and I believe he played. If I remember right, I have to double check. But on my stuff here, he played some on the edge for Western Michigan at times. So obviously, you're not going to play edge in the NFL at 6'5", 297. And he doesn't look like an edge player, and I don't think he's athletic enough to stay on the edge. So I'm projecting him to move inside. He's a solid pass rusher. I think his run defense could improve. But again, like a guy that I think if he works on it, he could really move up the boards. The potential is there again, like I said. Again, it's a projection because for some reason they played him at edge. Kind of like people remember from Bowling Green, the Packers drafted him. Brooks, I think it was. A guy that played end, but going to play project inside the NFL. Again, here we are with another 3-tech guy. Grayson Halton from Oklahoma, 6'2", 285. Again, another 3-tech guy, penetrator, get into the backfield, create havoc, get some sacks. He was a 4-star kid, but he didn't do much his first couple of years. Showed a little bit in 2023, but this past year he really started showing some potential with he had 4 sacks this past year. Again, a guy I think could really move up boards. Needs to add a little bit of weight, but again has flashed the potential there. So yeah, he could really move up into the boards, into the day 2 boards. And probably my last guy here. Ahmed Moten from Miami, Florida, 6'3", 325, just kind of a nose tackle. Not much else other than that for him. He's a redshirt junior, so he could potentially end up going back because I don't think he would go that high just because he's kind of a nose tackle. Offers you a little bit of his pass rush, not much, but basically is just going to be a nose tackle.
Okay, so that was really good, 20 defensive tackles there. So here's a question.
Uh-huh.
How many of those defensive tackles do you think are top 110 players? Like if they're there at the first part of the 4th round, you just go grab them.
Let me see. 2, 3, 4.
I'm just curious where the threshold in your grading is.
Yeah, I'm just counting. I could see 10 to 11 of them.
Yeah. As I was listening to you and how you were describing them, one of the things that I think that I'm seeing like draft trend, if you are a pass rushing defensive tackle, you're going on day 2.
Yeah, I mean,
NFL values pass rush. You can get the run stuffers day 3, but the NFL values.
Yeah, as long as you have you can at least have that athleticism to play in the NFL. Yeah, for sure. Those guys go early.